Hello, New Jersey. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. I'm John Cifelli. This is WeatherNJ, and I do have an update on what used to be Tuesday's storm, was then Wednesday's storm, and now looks like mostly Wednesday night's storm as things continue to be pushed back. But I do think that we are keying in on, once again, a significant winter storm event here in New Jersey. The first thing that I'm showing you, as always, a little bit of a diagnosis of what's going on right now. Adjacent to me is the current water vapor loop, and there's a couple things you can see here. First off, you can see the strong moisture plume coming up from the Gulf of Mexico and starting to feed off the Atlantic as well. Something else you can see is a strong 500 millibar low. That's a mid-level low pressure center, and that's currently over Arkansas and western Tennessee. And then in between there, you can see it's red. It's a tongue of dry air, or a dry line feeding up through, sort of in between what is becoming the new coastal low and the current primary upper level low. And I think that that's going to be important because you can see here on the radar that we already have a lot of moisture streaming up, and some rainfall breaking out across Virginia and Maryland and almost into Delaware already. And that would be cause for concern, but I do think that that tongue of dry air does punch up through the mid-Atlantic along the eastern coastal plain, and as a result, I do think that we do see that lull or break in precipitation tomorrow, whereas I've heard some forecasts for snow to begin at 7 o'clock in the morning across the state. I do think that we really don't see the main event until almost 7 o'clock at night. So a long way to go, even though it does look like it's on the doorstep in my opinion. So we're going to see how that plays out. Currently, this is the surface map for the lower mid-Atlantic and the southeast. You can see a fading primary surface low right now over Tennessee, and you can see a new low starting to form east of South Carolina. So cyclogenesis happening as we speak right now off the southeast coast, and some of the reasoning behind that, showing why we have that change happening. This is the surface frontogenesis map. Frontogenesis is essentially the birth of a front being a dividing line between two different air masses. What you can see here is a warm marine air mass with 25-30 knot winds blowing in off the Atlantic, and that's butting up against this continental air mass where the winds are from the north and from the northeast. Temperatures across South Carolina in the mid-40s. Out here over the Atlantic, you can see 68 and 70. So as this air mass butts up against the coast, what you have is a contraction of the temperature gradient from the land to the sea. And what that does is it gives birth to a front, and where you have frontogenesis is where you have the best lift, and that's of course where you can see the rain breaking out and some thunderstorms as well. But also the best lift is typically where you're going to find the low pressure track. So you can see as the primary low dies across the southeast, the new coastal low is starting to take shape, and you can see the path that it's going to take. As usual, this is the climatologically favored track right along the seaboard here. And once again, that does look to be the case for this storm. Next thing that I wanted to show, this is the GFS forecast for 21 hours from 0Z, 0Z being 7 o'clock at night. So this is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You can see the surface low located far east of the of Cape Hatteras and the Virginia Capes. Excuse me. And then we're going to move a little further up in the atmosphere. And what we see at 925 millibars is the low a little bit further west, just off the coast of Virginia. We move a little further north, vertically in the atmosphere to 850. And you see the 850 millibar low on the tip of southern Maryland and just southwest of Delaware. We're going to go one step further, and here at 700 millibars, we see the lows well back in central Virginia. And as a result, what we have here is a lot of extra warming because this low is held back and because it's still to the west somewhat of New Jersey in the 700 millibar trough. The axis of it is to the west of New Jersey. We're going to be getting a lot of extra southerly and southwesterly winds throughout the day tomorrow. And so I do think that we see warming in the lower mid-levels, and that's why I think we're going to see rain for much of South Jersey. Any precipitation that does make it up through the state in the early morning hours through mid-morning and the early part of the day, I think will be primarily rain with possibly some sleet as you make your way north of 195. I don't think we really see precipitation get to North Jersey until later in the afternoon. In fact, I do think that the daytime will be a pretty safe bet for most of the state. The places that do see precipitation, it should be more wet than white. So I do think that you get through your morning commute. I do think if you can leave early, do so on Wednesday, as the evening commute could get dicey. One last thing that I want to show here, once that low does hit the coast and really starts to make its way north and off to the east, very often what we talk about are jet streaks, which are integral to the development of coastal lows. And you can see a jet streak here of 120 knots embedded in the jet stream, which has a pretty sharp trough at 300 millibars. And what you want to look for a low position is to be in what's called the left exit quadrant of the jet streak. So that would be this region here, just off the coast of New Jersey. So I do think that as the low makes its way here, again, this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, I do think that it's in the perfect placement for some rapid deepening. And that's why, as I alluded to yesterday, I do think that we see some period of strong winds and some very heavy snowfall rates for the latter part of the afternoon and the early evening and the early part of the nighttime for Wednesday. Taking a look at what we're seeing right now across the state, this is the current temperature map. Temperatures generally a little bit below freezing in the upper 20s and towards just above freezing the further south you go. We're not going to get much cooler. There's a lot of clouds out there. We talked the other day about radiational cooling, and with the clouds acting as a blanket, we're not really going to be cooling off too much further. So what you see is what you got, and that's really going to lay the groundwork for, like I said, I think more of showers and maybe some sleet tomorrow instead of the really cold temperatures you need for snow. This is just indicative of what's going on aloft, as we do have a warm layer embedded over New Jersey tomorrow for the early part of the storm. Again, I can't stress that enough. That's the early part of the storm. And then as things really start to get strong, cold air comes rushing in behind all these lows, and we really start to see a quick transition. So this is the total QPF, or the amount of liquid that we expect to fall. This is by 18 hours after 0Z. So this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the NAM, you can see we don't have more than 1/10 of an inch, which is the line that separates gray from black on, or rather gray from green on these maps. We don't have more than 1/10 of an inch anywhere north of 195. This is on the NAM. I'm going to jump ahead to the GFS for the same time period. And okay, we have a little bit more precipitation a little bit further north, but again, far northwest Jersey, Sussex and Morris counties, you haven't seen a flake or a drop by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And down here, further down in South Jersey, well, let's take a look at the forecast sounding. And again, this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We've seen a lot of precipitation throughout the day, but you can see right here where we are 1 to 2 degrees above freezing for a decent layer of the atmosphere. Really, that's about from 750 down to 850, and then it really doesn't get too far below freezing, if at all. It really just sort of straddles the freezing line, and then it's above freezing at the surface. So I think through the afternoon we're above freezing for most of the state that sees the precipitation with the first wave of precip as it makes its way. Now here we are a little bit further out in time. This is our 21. So this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is in south central Jersey. And by this time, we're starting to see the temperatures fall a bit. We're still above freezing from 750 to 850. Once we do see the warm layer start to erode, and then as we go out further in time, here this is the 24-hour forecast. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and by now we've completely eroded the warm layer. We're now below freezing in the entire column. Maybe just at the surface it's 32 or 33, but that's not really what's important. What's important is the temperatures aloft. So even down here in south central Jersey, I think that we're below freezing for the duration of the evening precip, and really the heaviest batch of moisture to make it through. So this is the GFS sounding for south central Jersey. Go ahead, one more frame here, and this is the NAM for the same place, and you can see same thing. So there's a consensus that we're below freezing for pretty much the entire column, although it is marginal, it is close. But so if I had to make a forecast just based on these two skew T-plots, I would say sleet and snow, um, changing over to snow. So this is from 24 hours out from 0Z on Wednesday. So this is 7 o'clock on Thursday night. And looking ahead at the next map here, this is all the precip that falls after 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And you can see we're below freezing in south central Jersey, so we're definitely below freezing everywhere else. So this is all snow. And you can see on the GFS, the yellow line is half an inch of liquid equivalent. So taken verbatim at 10 to 1, that's 5 inches of snow. And then if we take a look at the NAM, pretty much the same thing. One thing that is different you can see as you go back and forth between the two, you can see a sharp cutoff here in northwest Jersey. So that does have me a little bit leery that we might not realize some of the forecasted snow in far northwest New Jersey, but I did trim back my totals there, and I do think that they'll do well for two reasons. One is better snowfall ratios. Two, they never have to deal with any of the warm air that they did in South Jersey. And three, Climo just always favors those areas. Climatology says that northwest New Jersey always does best. That hasn't been the case this year, but if there's one storm that's going to play by the rules of climatology, it's going to be this one. So we have a true mill array. Again, here's the NAM forecast. You do see some more of the greens get up into northwest Jersey. So not by any means do I think that Sussex and Warren counties are out of the woods, but just a little bit leery of the heavy snows making it all the way up there. So here's the new snowfall map. You can see trimmed back just a touch. Yesterday I was going for 7 to 14 across much of the state. Just hedged back a little bit, tightened my my window of error as we got a little bit closer to the event. Northwest New Jersey, 4 to 8 inches, and then the further south and east you go, well, you do see rain and sleet a little bit longer. It takes a little while for those temperatures to cool, and once we change to snow, be a little bit less moisture to work with. So I do think a little bit of a snowfall gradient as we move from the central part of the state, which should be the jackpot of all this, towards South Jersey. So definitely an interesting forecast, and I'm very excited to see how this one plays out. But I do think once again here we are in another winter storm in winter of 2010-2011. I was saying to a friend, my friend Dan, just the other day that if you compare this winter and last winter to all the other winters in history, I'd have to look back in the books, but I'd say that these are probably the two back-to-back snowiest winters in recorded history. I know that some places in New Jersey and New York City have seen over 100 inches of snow in the past two winters. So truly remarkable and truly historic, and you know, if you're not a snow lover, at least maybe you can take solace that you were a small part of history. So should be the final update for this storm, and stay safe and warm regards.